And Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam teach us to appreciate the fact that Allah allowed us to speak to Him. Usually in the world that we live, the higher the authority that has a control over your life, the difficult or the not easy to speak to them. We are here probably 15, 20 people. We cannot go speak to the president of any country in the same time. Just now, you pick up the phone and you call him. It doesn't work that way. You need to have an arrangement. They need to know who you are. They need to know what you're going to talk about. They need to make an appointment. They need to make a schedule. And the higher the authority is, the difficult the meeting shall be. That goes to any figure that it's important to you. The youth in the world today, the teenage, they wish they want to talk to their stars. They dream about having a conversation with their idol, with their best representative, with their dream person, with their mentors. Whoever is involved in sport wants to speak to the star that he loves, and whoever is listening to al-muharramat, from the music that does not purify your soul, destroys it. They want to meet the singer, they dream about meeting them, talking to them. There are certain youth that kills themselves to get a signature and autograph from someone. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the mightiest of all mighties. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the star of all the stars. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the cause of all the causes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the source of everything we yearn for, love to achieve, die for. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the source for that. You love beauty, Allah is the source of all the beauty. You love power, Allah is the source of all power. You love success, Allah the cause of all the success. You want tawfiq, Allah waliyyu tawfiq. You want al-afiyah and health and peace and happiness and tuma'nina, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the source for that. And Allah made it easy and allowed us for us to communicate with Him. You don't need an appointment, you don't need a schedule, you don't need to talk to anyone, you don't need to wait online, you don't need to file an application. You don't need to stand, you don't need to sit, you don't need a secretary. All that you need is A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Start the conversation by calling Him. The line that you open with Allah is 2 dials, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. And the second one is Allahumma salli ala Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad.
And it's not that you shall be moved and then you will take a plane to go anywhere. No, Abwab as-Sama shall open for you. The barriers for your dua to go straight from your heart into Allah does not need galaxies and does not need transportations and does not need planes and it does not need rocket science. All what it needs, one element, is sincerity. What Allah wants you to be is sincere. Allah has jealousy. Can you imagine? That's what Allah describes Himself. He said, I am jealous. How is Allah is jealous? When Allah loves you, He wants your attention. And Allah loves you. And there's 2 kinds of love that comes from Allah. The general love that demonstrated in His rahmah, in His mercy. And part of this sign of this love that He created you without you asking. You were nothing, non-existence. Adam. Adam means non-existence. At one point of time, you and me, we did not count. We did not occupy a space in this universe. And it is the mercy of Allah that brought us. It is the generosity of Allah that opened the opportunity and the doors for us. And we came. And the way you came, before the development of what you are right now, from the physiological process, where one single sperm made it to that egg, among millions of other sperms want to compete and to make it, and you made it. It's like that's much better than chances than winning the lottery. And you made it. And Allah opened the door for you and you came. And then you open your eyes. Most of the time around the world it happens hundreds of thousands of times. You open your eyes to someone who is caring for you. Someone already is caring for you. The hands of the mother, and the hands of the father, and the hands of the doctor, and the hands of the females, and the hands of the relative. And then they care for you, and they love you, and they weep in joy over your coming, and over your attendance, and they smell you, and they kiss you, and they hug you, and they clean you, and they feed you. And they are sleepless until you sleep, hungry until you eat, thirsty until you drink, unrest until you rest, unhealthy until you are healthy. Allah facilitated this for you before you came. And you find it when you came. That is an expression of Allah's love, the general one, Allah's mercy. Rahmatullah. And then there is another kind of love, special one. Very special, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will get you closer to Him. It will make you special. And it will make you aware of His presence. And it will make you aware of His qualities. And it will make you aware of His attributes. And then when you need a mother, and the mother, despite her dedication to you, fails you, Allah will not fail you. And when you need a father, and your father was absent for one reason or another, Allah will not be absent. Allah will not fail you. Allah is closer to you than your own vein to your own heart. وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ وَنَعْلَمُ مَا تُوَسْوِسُ بِهِ نَفْسَهُ وَنَحْنُ أَقْرَبُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ حَبْلِ الْوَرِيدِ. How vast the rahmah of Allah. How big and deep is the compassion and the love from Allah to you. I will tell you with a small little image and picture. Allah cannot be contained by the vastness of this universe, nor by the vastness of this existence. And the world is expanding at an enormous rate that we cannot even calculate it properly. And it's going bigger and wider at a rate it will go to an infinity minus one. And it's not able to contain of Allah. And nothing is able to contain Allah except the heart of the mu'min. That is how wonderful the love of Allah for you. That's what He said. Nothing is containing me except the heart of my servant, al-mu'min. The heart of my creature, al-mu'min. In that sense, Allah is jealous. In that sense, Allah does not want your heart to go anywhere else before it goes to Him first. And this is why Allah will not accept any amal from me if the amal is inside for someone else, outside is for Allah. It doesn't work that way. You cannot cheat Allah in your own intention. Because whatever you want to say, Allah has the knowledge of it. Before you say it, at the time we say it, and the results and the consequences of what we say and what we do, Allah has that knowledge. You can't cheat Allah. So be appreciative of Allah and then understand this kind of love that Allah wants. Ya Dawood. Ya Dawood. Hadith from Allah to Dawood. لو يعلم العصاة من عبادي. If the sinners of my creatures and of the people that I created, if they know how much I miss them to come back, how much I love them to come back, and Allah wants you to come back, and Allah wants you to initiate the change. Why? He doesn't want to force you, although Allah will entice you, and Allah will open the doors for you, and Allah will give you the signals, and Allah will shock you to come to Him, and Allah will do every possible thing that you can imagine, and every possible thing beyond your imagination to lead you to Him. But if you don't want to come, Allah is not going to force you, and it's not going to be fair that Allah will put all the energy for you to come and you refuse, and somebody else dedicating all his life to come to Allah on their own. Who would be closer to Him? Among the two, who would be closer to Him? Allah will not change people unless they are able to change within themselves. When Allah knows the intention that I am making the first step towards Him, He will open the doors. He will open the doors. And you don't need an appointment, you don't need to travel anywhere, you don't need to go anywhere, you don't need to prepare, you don't at any time speak the language of the heart and the language of sincerity, Ya Allah. And the sign of this sincerity is concentration and attention. And the sign of this response is when the tears come out of your eye for the sake of Allah, for the love of Allah, for the fear of Allah, for the presence of Allah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never leave you. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وَالضُّحَى وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا سَجَى مَا وَدَّعَكَ رَبُّكَ وَمَا قَلَى. It's not only that. Allah the independent doesn't need you, doesn't need me, doesn't need anyone, doesn't need any of His creation. He did not create for the sake of need, nor for the acknowledgement because He needs it. He created what He created إثباتا لقدرته on what He created, and demonstrating for His rahmah in the way He created, and He grant us something no one can give you ever again. No one can give you long, everlasting love and life, trouble-free, disease-free, hassle-free, tiresome-free, stress-free. في جنة عرضها السماوات والأرض أعدت للمتقين. And above that, Allah spoke about something you and I, we need to seek it. It's not only the Jannah. Good. Yani, I remember one of my teachers in the Hawza in Lebanon. He was telling us, well, if you delay your salat and you don't do your salat on time, and you go to Al-Jannah, Allah will strip you from a house in Al-Jannah. You will be guest with other mu'mineen. You're going to travel from galaxy to another galaxy. You will be always a guest. And there's one wonderful young old man. He said, Maulana, I don't care as long as I go to the gate. Oh, she grant me to go and host me. I don't, just host me. So the point that we are addressing here, that they say, if you want to go to Al-Hajj, apply for the visa, right? If you want to win the prize, fill the application, right? If you want to go into a house, you need to knock at the door. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it easy for you. All what you have to do is azmu irada and one word with sincerity, Ya Allah. And Allah will never turn you down. So as surah, when it spoke to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa Allah took an oath. وَالضُّحَى. I swear to you, Ya Muhammad, by the sunrise. وَاللَّيْلِ, and the motion of the night. مَا وَدَّعَكَ رَبُّكَ وَمَا قَلَى. Allah will not turn His back on you. He will never say goodbye to you. He will never turn away from you. And then the most beautiful ayah, it says to him, look what it says. فَاصْبِرْ, have patience. لِحُكْمِ رَبِّكَ, for the decree of Allah. فَإِنَّكَ بِأَعْيُنِنَا. What a wonderful expression. Ya Muhammad, show patience. Because you are in our own eyes. Allah does not have eyes like you and me. But this is a beautiful expression. This Quranic expression has been said in order to express to us. He uses this example to understand the level of love that Allah had for Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. فاصبر لحكم ربك فإنك بأعيننا. بأعيننا. And you know, in Pakistan, in Afghanistan, in Iran, in Lebanon, everywhere, there is a sort of an expression of takreem. We call it takreem. And it's funny when those people, they come from the Middle East and they do the translation. For example, this guy in New York was driving a taxi and he came from Syria, and then he was doing the service of taking someone from point A to point B. And this person, the customer, told him, thank you. And he looked at him and he said, from this eye before this eye. In American expression, it means, it's weird. You don't hear it. The proper expression is, you're welcome. But to him, it means, I am serving you with my own what? Eye. Means, your service from my service to you is dearer than the value of my own vision. That's what it means. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used this expression so people can understand. فَاصْبِرْ لِحُكْمِ رَبِّكَ فَإِنَّكَ بِأَعْيُنِنَا. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the way He talks to you and me, He talks to His own servant. And then He put a system where when you love Allah and you love Muhammad, they love you back. Although they were loving you before you even demonstrated your love to them. We recite as-salat on who? On Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. We say Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. In response to the command in Al-Quran, Allah told us, إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل. The question is, النبي, does he recite as-salat on himself? How does النبي recite as-salat? Look, Al-Quran is wonderful. Al-ayat will explain itself. And we don't know that much about what we call al-haqa'iq al-Qur'aniyya. We're so ignorant of it. And yet Al-Quran is the most important book in the existence today, and it's the most abandoned book. This is why we need to understand it. To answer the question, how does An-Nabi recite as-salat? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells him in another place, in another ayah, in another verse, وَصَلِّ عَلَيْهِمْ. Just like Allah is commanding you to pray on Muhammad wa ali Muhammad, Allah commanded a Nabi to recite as-salat on you. Why? That demonstrates the love of Allah. Why? Because He said to him, He said the answer came, إِنَّ صَلَاتَكَ سَكَنٌ لَهُمْ. Ya Allah. What a wonderful ayah. He said to Rasulullah, perform as-salat on them. Them who? You and me and al-mu'mineen and al-muslimin. Why? Allah told him, your salat on him will bring peace and as-sakina and tranquility and success and tawfiq to them. This is why, and this is how An-Nabi recite as-salat back. When you recite as-salat on him. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. We were going to go to the discussion with Imam Hassan, but we don't have the time, inshallah. We will postpone it to some other time. But we come to this conclusion. All our A'imma, and our A'imma are the source of true knowledge. Our A'imma are equivalent to Al-Quran. Our A'imma demonstrate al-haqa'iq that Al-Quran demonstrate with details because it is the ilm from Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. And you cannot be without any of those two. And I just received a conversation from one of my brother. There are some people are leaving their salat and they are counting on Al-Quran and they want to take the initiative to interpret Al-Quran in their own. They claim there is no rik'at in Al-Quran. Al-Quran did not speak of how many rik'at in Salat al-Subh, how many rik'at in Salat al-Dhuhr. Say, forsake al-Salat. No, there is a kufr. That is a process of kufr because if you want to follow Al-Quran, Al-Quran is commanding you to obey who? To obey who? To obey Al-Quran, Allah and His Messenger. ما أتاكم الرسول فخذوه وما نهاكم عنه فانتهوا. Whatever Rasulullah asks you to do it. Whatever Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi asks you not to do not do it. And Al-Quran asks us to follow Muhammad and the legacy of Muhammad and the reputation of Muhammad. Whatever Muhammad says, a hujjah on me and you. Whatever he does not say, a hujjah on me and you. Whatever he does or he doesn't do, a hujjah on me and you. So don't give me this stupid excuse by saying you are going to rely on Al-Quran and then I'm not going to pray according to Al-Rik'at because I could pray in any form, meditate in any form because Al-Quran said As-Salat without talking about Al-Rik'at. Then how are you going to perform Al-Hajj? And how are you going to perform Al-Zakat? And how are you going to perform Al-Wasiyyah? Yes, that's true. There is nothing in Al-Quran that tells you Salat al-Subh is 2 rik'ah and Al-Dhuhr is 4 rik'ah. But there is a unanimous ijma' in all al-Ummah that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi commanded us to pray the 2 rik'ah in Al-Fajr and the 4 rik'ah in Al-Dhuhr and the 4 rik'ah in Al-Asr and to turn our direction towards Al-Qibla. Alhamdulillah, we Muslims, regardless of whether Sunni or Shia, we have few things to agree on. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Yes, Al-Quran tayyib. And this guy is some of these are ulama. Some of these, a shaitan comes to them. Tayyib, I will ask you a question. Al-Quran tells you, perform your salat. أقم الصلاة يعني do الصلاة لدلوك الشمس when the sun moves from the dhuhr, from the midday إلى غسق الليل مغرب and العشاء وقرآن الفجر at dawn. طيب Al-Quran gave you 3 timing for الصلاة. Which salat? How are you going to perform? Which salat? If as-salat will determine your outcome in al-akhirah and Allah is khabirun, alimun, hakimun, will He leave you unambiguous without telling you how to pray? You cannot count on one without the other. You need to follow Al-Quran and you need to follow the legacy of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. Because if it was not for Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad legacy, I will be me. I'll be the most confused person in the universe. Even if I read the Quran 100 times. Because at Tawheed, the way it was explained, go read. We have a whole legacy and a whole encyclopedia of what the early Sahaba and A'lam and Ulama left us. Go read. Go into history and read and dig about the concept of At-Tawheed. If you can come up with a clear concept of what Tawheed is without the speech of Muhammad and without the speech of Ali and without the speech of Al-Imma, you will end up being a mushrik. Why? Because those Muslims in the world today who do not follow the legacy of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad, they think Allah is a person. And they think Allah moves. And they think Allah has a chair. He sits on it and he stands. And they think Allah rides a donkey. And they think Allah comes down and moves from one place to another. You are worshipping a God that you do not know. And that God that you are showing definitely is not Allah. Subhanahu wa ta'ala amma yushrikun. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِمَوَاقِعِ النُّجُومِ. Allah is taking an oath to tell you the truth. وَإِنَّهُ لَقَسَمٌ لَوْ تَعْلَمُونَ عَظِيمٌ. And it's a mighty, important, significant oath if you know. What is the oath? For what? To tell us what truth? إِنَّهُ لَقُرْآنٌ what? كريم. Generous book. في كتاب مكنون. Well preserved. So my due respect to some of our ulama in Najaf, and I'm so upset tonight, forgive me, because I will not and we will not tolerate a voice from anywhere, even if it comes from Qum or Najaf, that Al-Quran is not true. That Al-Quran is muharraf. That Al-Quran, one ayah came in, one, that is not the case. Our thought in the school of thought of Ahlul Bayt, the Quran that we have is the Quran that came down on the heart of Muhammad. And we do not need to know the name of Al-A'imma in Al-Quran in order to prove the authenticity of Al-A'imma. It only will take a blind person not to believe in this. And if you want to study the fairness, you will come up to this conclusion. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us Al-Quran is preserved في كتاب مكنون إنا نحن نزلنا الذكر وإنا له لحافظون. This is plain Arabic. Allah will protect it. Allah will protect it from any tahrif. Yes, at-ta'wil and the meaning, there are many opinions, but the way Al-Quran came, no difference than the way it was. And that's what Allah said. Maybe there are certain collection in the chronological order of Al-Inzal of Al-Ayat, that's a different story, but we follow what Al-Rasul said. He's the one who put it together. And there is another one, وَلَا لَا تُحَرِّكْ بِهِ لِسَانَكَ لِتَعْجَلَ بِهِ إِنَّا عَلَيْنَا جَمْعَهُ وَقُرْآنَ. Allah is saying, it is our responsibility to put it together, and to show it, and to explain it. How did he explain it? Surah Al-Waqi'ah, in Al-Qasam, and I will end this discussion. فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِمَوَاقِعِ النُّجُومِ وَإِنَّهُ لَقَسَمٌ لَوْ تَعْلَمُونَ عَظِيمٌ. Mighty oath. إِنَّهُ لَقُرْآنٌ كَرِيمٌ فِي كِتَابٍ مَكْنُونٍ. This is the point of the discussion here. لَا يَمَسُّهُ إِلَّا مُطَهَّرٌ. صلوا على محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
If you want to follow Bin Baz and you want to take the meaning at its face value, Al-Ayah says cannot be touched except by the people who are clean. Yani on wudu. You know, many people touches Al-Quran when they are not on wudu. Many people tore Al-Quran. Many people did terrible things to Al-Quran. But Al-Ayah, according to Al-Yamassuhu, means to have a state of mind to comprehend things. To those that Allah purified, who are they? Ashabul Kisah. And Al-A'imma, they will have full ta'weel for him. That's what it means. Simply. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Ya Allah, we ask your love. And we ask you to love us. And we ask you to love the people that love you. And we ask you, the people that love you, to love us. And we ask you to take us and grant us the deeds that would lead to your love. Ya Allah, have mercy on us. Ya Allah, we seek your forgiveness. Ya Allah, we repent tonight. Ya Allah, we seek your close attention. Ya Allah, forgive our past sinful act and change our bad deeds into good deeds. Ya Allah, have mercy on our loved and lost ones. Ya Allah, cure our sick ones. Ya Allah, deliver us into safety from all the pandemics and from all the permanent sickness. Ya Allah, relieve our ummah from the stress and from ignorance. Ya Allah, bond among our hearts. And I ask you in this occasion to recite Al-Fatiha for the ruh of As-Sayyida Rif'at Ridawi, the wife of Brother Jamil, and for Sayyida Tilmiz Zahra, and for the Sayyid Mumtaz Hussein, and for Latif Hussein, Sayyid Safdar Hussein, and Sayyida Layla, and Sayyid Nasir Abbas, and Sayyida Qudurat Al-Nisa, and for Sayyid Ahmad Hussein, and Farwa, and for Sayyida Rabab, and for Zia Abbas, and for all أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات. قبلها الصلوات على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
محمد وآل محمد صلوات.